Hi and welcome to Down the Shed. I'm Jason. In this video we are going to be building this RGB multicolour flashing star. So a bit more Christmassy theme. So we've got a load of acrylic in here with the hardware, so we'll just lob that to one side or place it to one side. And let's have a look at the Z kit. So there we have the PCB. There's 50 LEDs on here, so quite a lot of, that's 100 joints. 10 resistors, 120 joints, plus all the rest of it. So there's our PCB. So LEDs on this side, all the rest of the hardware go on that side. We've got 10 resistors, all 1K. So pretty simple and straightforward. Let's get on with it. So I'll get all the hardware on before starting on the LEDs. He says, putting the board in upside down. I don't matter which way I put this in. I'm going to have a bunch of resistors there. So unlike most of these kits, the IC does actually come sellotaped together with its socket, so the pins aren't all bent up like normal. That's nice. It does also have the instructions leaflet, which again, quite rare. Although it's all in Chinese, basically everything you need to know is on here. It's rather simple because the resistors are all 1Ks, so you haven't really got to worry about getting resistors in the wrong place. So switch number 1, or the only switch, goes in there like that. So that's going to hold itself in, but we'll put a blob of blue tack, blob of blue tack next to it, which has got a flipping component lead stuck in it. So a little blob of blue tack on that. I'm trying to see where this goes. So the USB is P1, so that's up here. Oh, I see what they've done. That's naughty. Okay, so you need to flatten these two pins on the USB out because they're actually going to end up surface mount. But don't flatten them too far. So we'll get that on there like that. They're basically touching the board. So a little blob of blue tack. So we'll secure it at the base, at the back rather. Oh, that's got a micro USB? No, that's got the Android USB charger on it. Again, quite unusual. They're normally the old school. So we'll get those tacked down to start with. So we'll get these corner pins done first to hold it in place. Make sure that's up. Right, so we'll just get a load of solder into these. I'll do one and let it cool, because we don't want too much heat going into that USB connector, melting the plastic. So that's now soldered on. So all we have to do is give it some power. So I've got 2 contacts on here that I need to solder down to the board, so we're going surface mount on these 2. So we'll just push that over a bit, get it onto that pad nice and central. That one's alright. So let's get some heat in there. I'll do nicely. So that's the switch and the USB power connector on board. So brown, black, black, brown, brown, or brown, brown, black, black, brown, whichever way is the correct way. So that's R9, R10, R7 and 8 next to it, and as I said, these are all 1Ks, so it really doesn't matter where you put your resistors. There's no you can't get it wrong. So that's 4 resistors in. So R3, R4, R6, R5. So that's R3, 4, 6 and now 5. So we've only got R1 and 2 over to your right, my left. And we can solder all that down. So these 2 go over here. Right, so R1 and R2 in. So blob of wedge of blue tack on all of that. Let's melt some solder. So that's that lot. I'll snip it. So there we have, that one could go down a bit. So the 2 1Ks there, 4 1Ks there, and 4 1Ks over there. But that one's just slightly out, so we need to heat the pad, then lift. So they've actually put a flat side on the LED printouts, and they do go either way, so be careful with your polarities when fitting those. I think next we'll just get this IC in. Bear in mind the silk screen, as you can see, you've got the goal post and the long shape for the IC, so we'll just snip this out of this sellotape. So one end of the socket has this. Sometimes you get sockets, sometimes you don't. It does make it easier for replacing chips or changing chips, but in this case it doesn't really matter. Could just solder it directly to the board, but we've got one, so we may as well use it. And it stops the chip from getting hot as well, so there's another bonus. So we'll just blue tack that on. Actually, I'm going to put a wedge on the other side as well. Sod it, why not? Doesn't really matter. Got loads. So turn it over, and I suggest you go corner to corner. So we'll get this top one done here, then we'll get this bottom one done here. Just make sure you get a nice hold at both ends. So just start randomly spacing out your welds or your solder joints. It's a bit like putting a head on, cylinder head on a car. You don't tighten all the bolts around the block. You do them in a specific order so it evenly tightens down the cylinder head without it warping. You're basically looking at the same sort of thing here, but you won't warp it. You just don't want the chip getting hot. If you did all the solders bang 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 bang, you could end up with a destroyed chip. So as you can see, I'm just sort of doing a couple and then working the other end of the board. But now we're a little bit stuck. Well, not stuck, but we've got ourselves sort of close in the middle. So that's the IC holder on. Now the pins do look a bit out, so what I'd normally like to do, if you want a flat edge, and basically you want gently lie it on its side like that, and just lean it over, easing the edges in. Same with the side, just like at my tweezers, just to give me a bit of leverage. So again, just lean it in, and all the pins should. So again, we've got our notch in the end of the chip. That matches our notch in the socket and on the circuit board, because you can get this in two ways, the right way and the wrong way. And just gently ease that in. There we go. So that's the chip on board. Nice job. So that is literally, I know we've got the programming headers. I don't normally put these on anymore. I have got a USB thing that does this, but I can't get it to work on my current computers. But they're running Windows 10, so I don't know if that's the issue or whether it's the software or what. I'd like to reprogram my light organ somehow so it doesn't play the two. Well, you can play one of the crappy tunes in there, but Happy Birthday does my head in. So there we go. There's our headers for our programming, our resistors, our chip, our switch, our USB power socket. So all that is left to go on there now are the 50 LEDs. So I think we'll do those tomorrow. Okay, so what I'm doing at the moment is literally placing 5 or 6 LEDs in at once, and then soldering just one leg down. So if we need to adjust them, we can. It's far easier than trying to desolder 2 pins or heat 2 pins up at the same time. They're all now looking good, so we can do the other leg. I'm guessing if we power this up, we should be able to light these LEDs up straight away, but I'm not going to risk any IC damage by them not being there and complete, so we shall refrain from powering up until we complete. And like the Christmas tree, we shall see together whether it works or not. LED star up so far, so I'm going every other one at the moment just to give myself room for soldering. So here's what we have so far. We're pretty much 3/4 the way there. There's some of the soldering, so I'll just carry on popping these in and we're almost done. Right, so that's a couple of solder joints then. Finish this puppy off. Right, so that's all of our LEDs in, so that's pretty much finished. All we have to do now is plug it into a USB supply. There is no, you'd have to figure out where the two power lines were coming out. Can't see where that left terminal goes. That right one follows up here into the chip. So you could power a battery off the back of there, I guess. Okay, so I found a USB cable. Let's get this plugged in. And we'll switch on. Quite pleased with that. That seems to be working fine. I think that's a nice little Christmassy star. Look good in a car or house, whatever, on a shelf. We'll finish off by doing the Perspex case in a minute. But for a second I'll just leave this running. That seems to go around for a while. We want to deprogram that bit after like 2 circuits. Oh, it's getting faster. Okay, oh, there we go. That's speeding up now before it goes into its next animation. That's not bad. So back in a minute and we'll do the hardware. Here we have the acrylic casing. Okay, so here we have the acrylic casing. So the hardware's still in the bag here, but you can see where the nuts and bolts go in. So the bolts go in through wherever, and then you put the nut in there. But there's a handy little trick for that. Okay, so we'll come back to that when we need it. So let's get these panels magically uncovered. Now I don't like the look of this bit. There's a bit of a crack or something in there. I'm not sure, so we'll see. Right, so I've done the first side. So what I tend to do is just get your pair of tweezers and gently edge one corner in and then lift it. Now it doesn't matter if you tear it there, because what you want to do is just gently, slow and a constant gentle pull, but you want to keep the try and keep the edges from tearing. Just work on the edge, bring it all to there. We got a tear going there, but it doesn't matter, because if we're careful with this edge, just keep lifting the edge. That's your constant goal here. There we are, see? So here we go. Now that side we tore there will gently come together with this bit. Oh, and we've got to tear that, so gently bring this edge round. And now we've got a nice, we can recover that bit down there, don't worry. You can start them off with tape or whatever by getting a piece of tape on there and then lifting the tape, but I just find it easier to lift a corner with a pair of tweezers. And that's our first panel uncovered. So I'll just crack on with the rest of these. So there you can just about see the Perspex parts without there. I found it easy just to do it with tweezers and pick it off on your way round, but everyone to their own. Tape, whatever. I have soaked them in the past in boiling hot water, but rubbed it off with a towel flat over a surface, but everyone to their own. So anyway, here's all our hardware and our bits and bobs. So basically now we have to unplug that and fit that. I'm guessing, nope, guessing wrong. That's probably that bit then, or whichever way it's going to go on there. Yeah, it will be that way. Nope. There we go, that'll go on like that. So I'll figure this out quickly. I'm not going to bother looking on the website or anything. This ain't too difficult, I don't think. I might even have some sort of cover in the drawer somewhere for that switch. So I'll start this off and then I'll show you the really easy way of putting these awkward bloody nuts and bolts together. I mean, it's so practical, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I've got cold hands actually. Right, so back shortly. Okay, so this is going to be the back piece because there's a little cutout there which matches up with the reprogramming pins, headers, whatever. So that'll go on there like that. I'm just wondering which side the extension little brass bits go on. I'm guessing it's this side for the LEDs, because this would then obviously be the top. So I'm going to guess they go on there either side, which bolts into those. Right, that's the second side done. Now the second side does have two screw and bolt holes, but only has one that actually functions like the other side. The other side's only got one on it. So what we've actually done is, I think we've put this on upside down, or back to front rather, because this side's got two holes on it and this side's only got one hole on it. So now I need to redo all that work. So it's actually this top section that needs turning 180 degrees. So I didn't actually realise that one of the panels only had one screw hole and the other one had two. So double check these things in future. So we'll just turn this around. So this is a bit of unnecessary work really, but it's a cautionary note for you guys. So if you're building yours, just be sure that when you put this top screen on, you put the single hole. There's two holes here and there's only one on this side, so make sure you get the one hole on the side of the switch there, and all shall be good. So I'll just put this back together. Okay, so now we've got the front. I had to flip it over 180 as well, so we've now got the hole in the single piece of perspex acrylic there lined up, so that's in. So now we can go on and do the other side. Now you can't put those pieces in incorrectly because their mounting holes are actually wider, their little lock-in slot. So I'll just go and get these three other panels on. Right, due to the original recording having a couple of issues, I'm quickly going to show you how to do these. So as you can see, we have those nut bolts that pull the plastic together. So if you want to remove them, get your magnet in place and screw your bolt, and your nut comes out. And same with putting them in. Get yourself a magnet. Doesn't have to be one of these big telescopic jobbies for your car. Any little magnet that will hold that in place that you can manipulate. Slot the nut into the hole, place the bolt in and do up, and it should be that easy. And there we have it. So that's how we do the nuts and bolts. So there's one in this side, one in this side, the switch side, and we've got 221, 221, 221, and of course you've got the ones, we've done that, yeah. So our brass pillars are bolted to the top and the board itself, and that is the finished project. Cracking little kit. Absolutely enjoyed making this one. The missus adores it. You can't go wrong. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the next little bit of this in action. And there she is. We've already done the patterns, but actually looks pretty good. So liking it. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.